Eileen Gu doesn't appreciate your silver medal cynicism. Like other highly publicized athletes at these Milano Cortina Olympic Games, freeskier Eileen Gu, who represents China, had hopes of winning everything. Many fans expect her, and these other global superstars, to do so. And like Lindsey Vonn, Chloe Kim, Ilya Malinin, and Mikaela Shiffrin, Gu hasn't. On Monday night in Livigno, Gu landed a left-side double-cock 1260, 3.5 rotations and a couple of off-axis flips, under pressure in her third and final run of the big air competition, earning enough points to win her second silver medal of these Olympics. But she didn't defend her big air title from Beijing. Canada's Megan Oldham won the gold. At just 22 and with 5 Olympic medals to her name, however, Gu now owns more Olympic medals than any other female freestyle skier ever. But she still hasn't finished first in Italy. After big air, a reporter asked Gu if she views her performance at these Olympics as 2 silver medals gained, or 2 golds lost. In interactions with journalists, Gu is unfailingly polite but often returns to familiar talking points. She chose to represent China over the US, where she was born and raised, in order to inspire young girls there to try skiing. There's evidence her goal is being realized. She touts the unifying power of sport. All well and good. But here, Gu came back with bite. "I'm the most decorated female free skier in history," Gu responded. "I think that's an answer in and of itself. How do I say this? Winning a medal at the Olympics is a life-changing experience for every athlete. Doing it 5 times is exponentially harder, because every medal is equally hard for me, but everybody else's expectations rise, right? And so the 2 medals lost situation, to be quite frank with you, I think it's kind of a ridiculous perspective to take." Gu's a lightning rod on social media. While her suiting up for China hasn't stirred as much chatter as it did 4 years ago, when the Olympics were in Beijing, critics are still calling her out. Former NBA player Enes Kanter Freedom, for example, recently called her a traitor on X. On the flip side, her fans come out in full force. At the big air landing, groups of fans waved Gu signs and Chinese flags. A trio of her Stanford friends showed up to cheer her on. Gu is an international relations major at the school and plans on returning as a junior after the games. One student didn't want to be named, since he was blowing off an electrical engineering final to be in the Alps. She has a strong support system. A world swirls around her. Supporters sought out selfies after she won her silver, and a volunteer even asked her mom, Yang, who was wearing a panda hat, for a picture. Yang was born in China and grew up there before coming to the United States. Gu spent summers in Beijing as a child. So whether people agree with Gu, 2 silvers here are a laudable accomplishment, or view her as crafting a favorable narrative that moves the goalposts, she had visions of bettering her performance in Beijing and sweeping all 3 freestyle golds. They'll be talking nonetheless. She was so stoked about landing that last big air trick, she says, because she only learned it last week. She raised her arms after striking the landing and shouted "What the heck?" at one of her coaches, as if she couldn't believe what just happened. She thought seriously about skipping big air altogether at the Olympics. Gu won her slopestyle silver on February 9th, and her strongest event, halfpipe, starts with qualifying on February 19th. My mom called a team meeting the day after slopestyle, and she was like, "All right, we got the medal. Let's move on to halfpipe." And I was like, "What?" I thought my jumps were pretty good. Maybe we could do something nice in big air. Yang was concerned that the big air finals were held on the same night as a halfpipe training. Gu even planned to hop over to halfpipe for some representatives if she didn't medal in big air. And Gu hasn't competed in big air since the Beijing Olympics. Between school and sponsor commitments and other competitions, and tending to her thriving modeling career, Gu just hasn't had time for big air. But after she did a practice run on the big air ramp in Livigno, she was all in. She said, "I love it," says Yang. "We in the Olympics." The opportunity to fly was just too good to pass up. And Jiu still has one more shot at that elusive, in Italy, gold. Oldham said she was going to celebrate her gold by going dancing. Jiu would not be doing the same for her silver, as happy as she was with that prize. "Go have a night," she told Oldham. "I'm going to be visualizing my halfpipe run. I'm going to lie in bed and think about my tricks." In the age of endless commentary, where every performance is dissected in real time and every podium finish is judged through the lens of expectation, it has become strangely fashionable to diminish greatness. When an athlete wins silver, the conversation often drifts away from admiration and toward disappointment. Almost gold, some say, as if excellence were measured only by a single color of metal. For athletes like Eileen, however, this cynicism toward silver medals misunderstands both the spirit of sport and the meaning of achievement. Eileen is not just another competitor chasing medals. She is a symbol of modern athleticism, disciplined, creative, fearless, and deeply aware of the cultural stage on which she performs. Whether she is flying through the air in freestyle skiing or navigating the complex expectations of international audiences, Jiu represents a generation of athletes who redefine what success looks like. When critics reduce a silver medal to a consolation prize, they ignore the extraordinary journey that leads to that moment. To appreciate why Jiu doesn't welcome silver medal cynicism, one must first understand the reality of elite competition. The Olympics and World Championships gather the very best athletes on Earth, individuals who have trained for years, sometimes decades, for a single opportunity. The difference between gold and silver can be measured in fractions of a point or the tiniest deviation in landing. It is not the difference between greatness and failure. It is the difference between two extraordinary performances separated by a whisper. Yet spectators often forget this nuance. Watching from couches, screens, and comment sections, some fans believe that anything short of gold is a disappointment. This perspective treats sport like a scoreboard of absolute winners and losers rather than a display of human potential. For an athlete like Jiu, whose career has already demonstrated remarkable consistency and innovation, such criticism misses the bigger picture. Eileen Gu's rise in freestyle skiing has been nothing short of remarkable. Born in the United States and competing for China, she carries a unique cultural identity that has placed her under a microscope from both sides of the Pacific. Every jump she performs, every medal she earns, and every interview she gives is scrutinized not only as an athletic performance but also as a statement about nationality, ambition, and identity. Few athletes operate under such complex expectations. Despite this pressure, Jiu approaches competition with an attitude that blends intensity with joy. Watch her runs carefully, and you'll see something that statistics cannot fully capture: creativity.